Welcome to yet another exciting episode of High Impact Garage, a long overdue episode. So anyway, here we are. We are working on this Toyota 4Runner behind me, and this is going to be one of those that you're going to want to pay attention to because there's a big lesson to be learned on this project. Alright, so the vehicle in question is a 1997 Toyota 4Runner, and here we are underneath the 4Runner. I've got Calissa over here. You want to show me what's wrong with the car? You want to show me what's wrong with it? She's not showing me what's wrong with it. Anyway, so if you look here at this piece right here, this is actually the remnant of the transfer case. And so let me show you what else is up. So here's that transfer case I was talking about, and what's left of it up there. So this would have mounted like so. And then here is the drive shaft, the front of the drive shaft where it would have gone into the transfer case. And if you look at it, you can see a lot of bluing here and melting and stuff. That's where we believe this double cardan joint fell apart or wore out or got hot, started wobbling, and then shook the transfer case until it shattered it off the transmission. But that's not all, because this is the front of the transmission right here, and there is a huge crack where this transmission has actually broken away from the engine. So what we've got here is a situation where the transmission and transfer case both need replaced along with the drive shaft in order for this thing to even run again. So the cautionary tale here is that in the sense of in this vehicle sense, there had to be some sort of a drive shaft vibration before this truck broke down. So the key is pay attention. And if you start hearing something, it's probably a good idea to pull over before something catastrophic happens. So the collateral damage of all of this is that the floor has been punctured and perforated as that transmission case broke apart and started flinging along with the drive shaft. So the drive shaft was flinging around in here at speed, beating the floor up. And then there's a puncture mark in the floor right here. And there's a puncture mark in the floor right there. The park brake housing right here is bent in and damaged, so this has to be replaced. And there's a shot, of course, of the back of the transfer case where it mates to the transmission. And then again, this piece of the transfer case, the remnant of it. And like I say, it would have actually mounted somewhat like this. So you can tell there's a huge amount that's missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the process of salvaging this. This is repairable. It's bad. It's really, really, really bad. But we're going to go ahead and go through the process of getting this stuff out. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting all this stuff out of the engine bay here, or out from under the vehicle. I mean, get the drive shaft out and get the transfer case off and get the transmission out. So I'm going to get that started, and then we're going to go through a process, just you and me, the viewer, and we're going to start putting this back together again so they can get it back on the road, because his current vehicle is a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and he'd rather have his Toyota 4Runner. Alright, so we've got the transmission out of this Toyota, and as you can see, so here's the bell housing area of the trans. Notice how it's all cracked off. We didn't even actually have to unbolt the bell housing to get this trans out. This is the main body of the transmission right here. This is the extension housing of the transmission right here. And then this is what's left of the transfer case right here. And then on the floor over here, we've got the output portion of the housing to the front. And you see there, that's where that would go to the front. And the associated portion of gears and stuff that's in there. And then right here is the bell housing portion of the transmission. And right here are our replacement parts. This is a complete transmission assembly for a four-wheel drive 4Runner right here. And then right here is what the transfer case would look like if it was all one piece. So now the next step is for us to put that into the vehicle. Alright, so behind me is the 4Runner. We got the transmission, the transfer case, the drive shafts back into it now. We've got fluid in it, so now we're going to go fire it up and see if, in fact, it fires up. We've never seen it run. And see if it can go into drive and do all that it needs to do. Alright, now we're running. We've been putting fluid in. I'm going to go ahead and check the level and see where we're at. So the level indicator, there's some residual on the dipstick from checking it, but no clear level, so we need to add more. Alright, so now the fluids are checked and good. We've taken it for a drive. We've verified that it does go into all of its gears. There's some more work that this thing's going to need, but we hope you enjoyed as we walked you through remedying that process, or at least identifying all of the damage that was happened. The next steps on this are going to be repairing the floor, and then so we're going to repair the floor. There's some park brake cable related things that need to happen, and there are some, like an oxygen sensor that is busted, and the rear end needs to be replaced. It is actually wore out. So there's a few things that need to be done. We'll walk you through that eventually on another video. In the meantime, we've got a running driving car.